2-pack.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a kind of a bonus episode since Zach is not here of Big Trouble Little Podcast, episode 243. I am Joe Dubs.
I'm Andy.
I'm Chaz. What's up?
It's funny, like you have that hat, and that would have been great for the last movie that we watched, because that guy was wearing it during his badassery, I guess.
Oh, yeah, whatever. This is the common hat. He was wearing the badass hat that had all the etchings and shit that you can see through. No, I felt like I was digging through everything when we were moving, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to wear this from now on."
Even after we start other movies.
I've not even taken it off. I've worn it every day since I found it.
Just go to your job and wear it. That'd be funny. Man. But anyway, we are going to be talking about Rashomon. Zach has already seen it already, so he knows it, and I think we are going to include it in the ranking, which is going to be interesting to talk about. So I guess let's get into the movie. This is another Kurosawa movie, right? Correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to be a little honest at the beginning. I was kind of like it has a really slow burn, but then you just you start hearing like every side of the story, and you just like you feel what the guys in the beginning feel like. It's just like I don't understand. And you're just like sitting there.
At first it just seems like they're just telling the story of what happened, and then you realize it was all a lie, and then they tell the story of what happened, and it was all a lie. But then they tell the story of what happened, and it was all a lie.
Yeah.
And they tell the story of what happened, and was it a lie?
Yeah, that's a thing at the end where you're just kind of like, well, I just got fed all this bullshit, so I don't even know if I believe the Lord Raiden. We have Zach in the chat. What's up? But yeah, so the story of this is guy finds a dead body, which is a man, and it's literally a husband and a wife strolling through the woods, I guess, and this bandit that's just sitting around, keep on hitting his body because flies are hitting his neck, and he's like literally like almost naked, kind of. He just has like this ragged clothes on, and
bandit. He's a ne'er-do-well.
He's the Wanderer class from Dark Souls games.
Yes.
He's what he looks like.
He's doing a no armor run or whatever, a naked run.
Even get some dodge rolls in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's important to point out too, the husband is not just any old man, like random guy walking around. He is a samurai, and he is equipped with both a nice bow and a sword.
Yeah. Yes. And
17 arrows with eagle feathers.
Yes. So, like, obviously, the husband is dead, but like you're getting 3 different stories, or maybe 4. Come to think of it now.
Yeah. Well, I think initially they say at the very beginning when he's saying the guy's sitting there. What's his name? He was Shimada in Seven Samurai. The older man at the beginning is like, I don't understand, and then the one guy is a priest, and he's like telling his own thing, and the guy's like, I don't need a sermon, just tell me the story. And they basically, the reason they're telling the story is he's the first person to find this body, and then they go to court because they get the police, and there's a suspect for murder, so there are 3 people to give report on what happens. And he just tells his side of he found the body. Another person found the man who allegedly had murdered the guy, and he found him like just randomly near a riverbank or a pond bank. He'd fallen off that horse. That's where we found out the 17 eagle feather bows and stuff. These are all items that belong to that couple. So, or the man that was dead. So then from there, that's when we get the stories.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you said the guy from the Seven Samurai, Takashi Shimura, the priest that he's talking to is also in Seven Samurai.
Yeah, he's one of the other. Yeah, he's one of the others too. I just like it took me a second to recognize that in the movie. It was like midway I realized that, but I very quickly, like immediately recognized Shimura. Yeah.
I think what I like about the different side of the stories is like it goes from simple, like straightforward, like the guy walking through the woods sees the hat and then sees the dead body and it's like, oh god, let me go to the police and stuff. And then the priest is like finds the horse with the arrows and stuff, and then that's when the bandit's like he does his little laugh thing and snort whatever, which I find funny.
That's just Mifune, right? At this point, every movie he's in, I think he's like fiending for meth, which I don't mind. Like his character's just great. He's always scratching himself, and
I love that. He's like always swatting at bugs, and he's just like sweaty, and
he's everything the Equalizer could have been. That's for you, Zach.
So, the bandit says, I was getting water because I was thirsty, and I guess there was a snake down the stream, and I got, ill and stuff, and I was literally, I guess, puking and probably shitting his brains out and stuff. So I didn't fucking fall off my horse and stuff. And then, yeah, and then
you fool.
And then
leave it to a fool to have foolish thoughts.
Yeah, so he gives his side of the story, and his gets a little more detailed a little bit, but you can still smell the bullshit where he's like, I love this woman, and I didn't kill this man. I wasn't I'm planning on killing this man, and she got in the middle of it, and then we fought a battle and stuff, and I ended up having to kill him. And then it moves on to, she's alive and she goes to the court and tells her side of the story. And right off the bat, and it's not because like I hate women, I guess. That's like my persona on the internet, I guess, whatever. But it right off the bat, I fucking smelled bullshit of her story.
Well, they're all liars. Every single one of them. Like every single one of them has something where you're like, oh man, what is that? Like each one tells a story where you're kind of like, oh, okay, well, they're bad, but they were less bad, I guess. Mm-hmm. And at the end, you get the story from just the farmer, Takashi Shimura, and you're like, oh, they're all terrible. And that's kind of the moral of the story. It's like, this is Earth is hell. A demon used to live here, but he was driven away by how terrible men are. And then at the very, very end, they're like, psych, that wasn't the moral of the story after all.
Oh yeah, dumpster baby. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you kind of like learn something from everybody in the story too, because like in her story, she like looks at her husband and the husband's like giving her a weird look and he's like, stop looking, I'd rather be dead and like other things besides you looking at me like that. And then you get the story. Now, what's your guys' opinions? Do you think the medium is bullshit? Like, was that a bullshit thing?
The story doesn't really work without it, so you kind of got to suspend your disbelief. You've got to believe in bullshit.
And the other thing too that's important, or two things. One, the only story that they ever go back to tell is from the point of after she is raped to the murder itself. The only person that ever tells the story at the very beginning is Mifune's. It's Tajiromu. Tajomaru. Is that how you say it? Tajomaru?
I don't know.
Tajomaru? Yeah. Anyway, he's the only one that actually tells the full story. He's the only one that actually goes through the effort of explaining how they pass him, and then he tricks the guy to follow him to something, which is already sketchy anyway. It's like, why are you following this guy to some scraps? Like, whatever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, well, and then him effectively forcing himself onto the woman and making the husband watch. Right there, it's already a horrible act. So, like, they all agree that happened. And then the key thing, this is the second point, is that even though the story is bullshit, it's only bullshit because certain pieces are missing. Like, Tajomaru's character he's totally forgotten what happened to her. He's clearly covering up his pride because at the end they show that he's a coward, which is also hilarious. The He doesn't know what happened to the dagger that was worth a lot of money, and for him to be a bandit, that's so stupid for him to forget that, given the situation. So, like, there's these clear
He did
gaps.
forget the dagger, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. He forgot it, and like that in itself doesn't make sense because he had such descriptive detail of it. But and again, it could happen. All right, it still could happen either way. But the point is, there are little gaps like where they're trying to figure out the rest of the investigation, and then as they go through all these stories, well, certain parts are the same. Like that's what makes the medium story believable enough, even though you still have to suspend that it's the whole mysticism and stuff of
That's
it.
creepy, by the way. Like
Because,
hearing a fucking because that's a female person, right? The body.
The medium is a woman, but it's a
mm-hmm.
man's voice coming from hell that you hear.
Mm.
Yeah, that's how the idea is that he's talking through her, and yeah, I don't know, but like, there are parts of the story that she's able to tell that match. Like her story actually helps to confirm a little bit of each of the stories we heard already, but then she still has enough of a third, like another part that doesn't match at all to anything they said.
It's weird that both the samurai and the wives' story were that he was killed with the dagger instead of with the sword, which is what had really happened.
Yeah, because in her story, she goes away and then comes back and then finds her husband with the dagger in his chest.
Yeah.
In the medium story, he gets free and calls her a whore and stuff, and he stabs himself in the chest.
Yeah, he's like, I just can't live like this. I'll kill myself. And then he says later he felt someone take the dagger. Like, hey, why did he say that? Why did he know to say that?
Because I think the guy had what really
he was already dead. He didn't know that the dagger had left the crime scene.
True, but then that's where the medium, suspend the belief thing where the dead body is talking to the living, so we know what happened to the murder weapon, whatever.
I'm thinking the only thing that made sense to me, and this is just tying into the other movies we've watched and things we've learned regarding honor in Samurai Way, is that given all the things that happen, like this is a series of events that are incredibly dishonorable. So in the woman's count, him dying by his own sword without him committing to do it, like, Harakiri, would be dishonorable. So him dying to his own sword would be disrespectful. Or dying in battle that way would be disrespectful. So that was just her own way of maybe changing it, or trying to explain where the dagger may have went. For him, it's a little less murky, but maybe for the same reason, it wouldn't have been an honorable death with his own sword.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I thought. Or maybe that's why he's in hell.
That's what
use his sword. I don't know.
I said he's in hell because he was forsaken by his horrible wife. She said, "Only one of you can live."
Yeah, I do like the part I kind of chuckled where he's like, I don't want to fight you because she's a whore, pretty much, and he's like, yeah, I'm done with it. And then the bandit sees her not crying anymore and kind of belittling the husband, and then he he stomps on her. He's like, what do you want me to do, let her go or kill her? Just give me a nod and stuff. And that's where it got weird for me a little bit. I think that's where the bullshit meter comes in certain stories where she gets up, she starts manically laughing just like the bandit, and then they fight. And I thought that was kind of weird that automatically, because she was all crazy and laughing, that now they have to fight for the death for her. And I was like, I don't like that. But
I mean, actually, to me, that made just enough sense that she would cry out like that and be upset, but then call them both out for being basically, but no other ways to put it, they're just being giant pussies.
Mm-hmm.
And in their fight, actually, I love the fight that happens whenever the fourth story is told, because what you're describing is actually the last story. She actually calls them out for not fighting over her, and then calls them both cowards.
And
And then they
then
go
they
to fight, and they fight very cowardly. Like that is not how a samurai would fight. I mean, the bandit, okay, you'd expect maybe a bandit to fight in a dirty tactic, or maybe them both be nervous, but you would expect a samurai to still fight a certain way because that's a certain way that they've learned or they've engaged. But he's not fighting with any temperament at all. He's
Maybe,
fighting as though any other common man with a sword is just fighting for their life.
maybe
They're
he's a fake
scared.
samurai.
Yeah, samurai honor is ultimately a facade anyway. We already learned that.
That's true. That's true. I will say it kept like each story just made it like again that's the whole point, right? Each story just makes you feel so confused and think I just don't even have like any faith in humanity left. I was really worried that when we got to Shimura's turn, when he's telling his side of the story, that he was like, I can prove to you what happened, and he was just gonna pull out the dagger and be like, bitch, I took it. But I'm really glad that didn't happen because uh, his story at least explained enough and it made the most sense. For what it's worth, I think he told the truth, but that's just me. It's the one that actually makes the most sense.
Do you think he did he want to get into the story? Because like if you're all on the same level as the other bandit of like stealing shit, right? And we already know like why he does it because of what happens at the end. But would you willingly want to talk about the story that led to your crime of stealing someone's property? Because like that's
he doesn't reveal that, at least not intentionally.
Yeah, he gets like emotional later on. He's like, well, I seen it, and I'm like, wait a second, brother. Like you told your story in the beginning where you just walked around and saw a dead body and then ran away, and then now you saw the whole thing happen.
He lied. It's human nature to lie.
Yeah, that's why in my quote at the bottom, I couldn't fit all of it. We all want to forget something, so we tell stories. It's easier that way. That's a really powerful quote because it's totally true. That's how we deal with trauma. It's how we subvert our feelings when we deal with grief. You make it something, you lie or you tell like comedy, you make light of it.
He saw a rape and a murder, and maybe he told the truth, maybe he didn't. It's possible to say he didn't tell the truth. Like, I don't know. Maybe he snuck down there to steal the dagger, and the samurai was still alive, so he had to stab him in the chest, and that is
maybe he killed him.
Feeling the dagger leave his chest is. Yeah, he says there's lots of little things like that when you think about it. You're like, well, wait a minute.
I mean, to me, he saw the worst ending in terms of that. Like, he saw a guy get tricked and get it tied up. The guy was forced, and he's a samurai, so he's like a respectable man. He saw that person watch his wife get raped. That woman then cry out that he was a coward to fight for her life. And then when he did, he lost. So that's the person you'd want to win, right? You'd want that guy to get some type of redemption, and he dies. So it was like the worst situation of what he could have seen. So yeah, and he didn't do anything. So then that's the other side of it. If he tells the police that story, then they're well, why didn't you do anything?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're going to call him out, and then he's caught in the middle of it, and that's what he said. He did not want to get involved. That's fair.
What I mean is when you're telling the story to the dude, because that's how it's told is telling the whole story of them going to the courthouse and stuff. Which, by the way, what year is this based in?
Good question.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Because it shows like a broken down like building, and I was thinking like, is that
the titular Rashomon?
Is that? Are we getting into like the early 1900s or something?
No, I think it's way earlier than that. 12th century.
Okay.
12th century.
And I guess they had police during that time. I would think like they would be called something else or something like authorities. I don't know.
I don't know. In the credits, the guy who catches Tajimaru is credited as policeman. So take that for what you will.
Yeah, and
obviously they have a court system because that's where they all tell the stories. Is that court?
Yeah, I this had to be a low budget film because literally it's just one setting, and then when they do the courtroom scene, you don't even hear the the policeman, which is great, by the way.
Yeah, I guess there's really just 3, kind of 4 sets. I guess, and most of them were probably just shot in the woods, honestly.
Yeah. And just to touch up on that shitty fighting, by the way, when I looked at that, I was like, wait, that's how me and my friends used to play like lightsaber or saber battles and stuff when the Phantom Menace came out. It was very kid-like, which again, I want to know what the samurai did to like go into hell, because again, we have that not like reliable narrators telling us a story.
I mean, it's like a weird, because he says he's damned to hell because he was forsaken by his wife. She said, only one of you may live, and she turned her back on him. It's like a weird, I don't know how to put it. It's a cultural thing that I can't fully wrap my mind around, and it's really hard to explain because of that. But also, I think it is ultimately like he didn't abide by Bushido. He was a coward. It was all just a facade. He was a proud man and didn't have anything to back it up with or something. I don't know. He lacked the capability to defend his wife's honor or something, maybe.
I got a question for you guys, and I'm gonna give you my answer. So the guy at the end who is just a bandit and just as bad as the other bandit, I guess, minus not killing, but then again, we don't know if he actually killed someone. So he talks about having 6 kids, right? When they find a baby.
Yeah.
And then he takes the baby and just walks off screen, and it's the end. My question to you guys, is he reliable on his story of having 6 kids? And do you think he's gonna have good intentions with the kid? Because my thoughts is, if this guy's a bandit, right, is he gonna go sell the kid and make money off of it?
He's gonna eat that. He's gonna eat that baby.
He eat that baby. He's the demon of Rashomon. He was not driven away by the evil of men.
No, he's been waiting. Actually, the whole time, like, there's like an extra credit scene. He was like, "I've been waiting for these motherfuckers to leave." He actually stashed the baby back there. Was gonna eat it.
He was gonna eat it, and then the priest turned up. He's like, shit.
Exactly.
That's also another good point. What if that baby was the husband and wife, and they're everybody's an asshole in this film, right? What if they're just like, oh, they left the kid there, and then they just walked up into the woods?
Well, the baby would have died because that was like 3 days ago.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I think the whole point of the baby being there is that the story from the issue with the eyewitnesses is to make you have that loss in humanity, just like the priest did. So that then when they find the baby, because other things like this are just a common occurrence, because everything is just in tatters at this time in age, that the priest does not trust him initially. That's actually the point. The priest thought that he was going to take something from the baby, but then whenever he explained, oh no, I have 6 kids, another one won't hurt, I can take care of the baby, and he realizes the person, he's going to do the right thing and take care of the kid, it like restored his faith just a little bit, because that's how damaged the priest was from the story that just happened.
Yeah, but I have a pessimistic view on this, because they're all assholes, right? And he is, not being a good role model. What if it's just an endless vicious circle where the kid ends up like the father, and it's just a circle keeps on repeating?
No, I think it's genuine. I think for multiple reasons. If for no other reason than otherwise, what's the point?
It's same. And also, I don't get that though. Like, what makes the guy that decided to take the baby? What makes him an asshole, or what makes the priest an asshole?
Well, no, there's no. Well, the priest, I guess, is the neutral guy here in this story.
Yeah.
I guess
the other guy's not an asshole. I mean, any of us, if you witness someone being raped and murdered, it's not every person's going to be the hero and try to jump in and intervene, knowing they could be killed too. So
but he is. I think Dub's point is we know for a fact that he's. Well, I guess we don't know for a fact. He doesn't admit it, but it's implied heavily that he's a thief and a liar and a perjurer.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the whole point of this, actually, it's funny. I never watched this, but I knew about the effect. So there's actually a theme called the Rashomon effect, which is used. I mean, that's why this film is like so important in cinema history, because it's a storytelling device or a plot device that's used to tell a story. You can tell the same event that happens from different perspectives, and the entire point of it is to show the complex nature of people giving eyewitness accounts and how unreliable they actually are. Because
Mm.
even when someone's telling the truth, their story may be different from someone else's perspective. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're lying.
Well,
But then when people have agendas, they're even further or more likely to lie. So I
well,
don't know if I necessarily say that he is a bad person.
he's not a
I
good
think,
person either.
but do we know
What's a
that?
good person? Like someone who's
Yeah.
never ever lied, someone who has never ever stolen, someone who's never had a sinful thought, an impure thought.
Oh, yeah,
that
I
person
get-
doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
quote something I'm going to talk about later in a different section of our show, the label good person is just bullshit anyway. Like the label good person and bad person actually are like just they're bad labels to use, because there's no black and white. Like we all make decisions that can have a positive or negative impact on someone else, whether we mean to or not.
Sometimes people are self-serving. They say at the beginning of the movie, it's human nature to lie. I don't know that they're being pessimistic. I don't think they're like, oh, this is hell, everyone's a liar. I think they're saying it's human nature to lie, matter of factly. I think it just is human nature to lie.
Well,
about
lying is
certain
easier
things.
than telling the truth.
Yeah, of course. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's easier for you. Sometimes it's easier for other people. Sometimes it keeps you out of trouble. Sometimes you benefit from it. Like sometimes people lie.
Sometimes lying is
shouldn't.
harder. Sometimes lying is the harder thing to do because you're doing it to protect someone. But then, like, there's that much work to keep it up, and then it actually ends up being worse in the end anyway. Again, lying in itself can be a problem, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. But I think the whole point of the movie, though, is that because you have three accounts that you're getting from people that are perceived by the end of their story, they are perceived as bad people and gradually worse as the story goes on. It just makes everyone else look that way. Like you have rose tinted glasses by the time the film reaches its conclusion, so you feel that way about everyone. I don't truly feel that this person has done anything to make everyone feel that way. If anything, his story looks worse just because of what he's associated with.
Yeah.
And then that's what makes it's interesting. It doesn't mean anyone's wrong. Like your take of it's not wrong at all. I mean, it's still very possible he could be bad, but that's what's so interesting about seeing the film and how it plays out. So it makes it so good.
I have an extra layer to I don't think that's what happens. All of Kurosawa's movies famously have sappy endings. They all have, but humanity is worth saving. They all have, but happiness was found kind of endings. So
yeah. And Chaz, you brought up the point about the eyewitnesses thing. A great movie that does a great thing about that is My Cousin Vinny. How many fingers am I holding? For the court, he's holding up 2 fingers. Your Honor. You have that situation, and then the grits and all that stuff. But like, yeah, the eyewitness stuff, everybody's going to see it differently. Especially, but that's where you have to like take everyone's story and then find the truth in it. And I guess the truth, the constant is that dagger, I guess, right?
What do you mean? Like, because it's an element in every story?
It's an element in every story, and it's like it's on.
I mean, so are both swords or all the people.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think. I don't think it's in every single
as
story. Like the original story, the very first one you hear, the dagger is mentioned. He describes it, but he doesn't know what happened to it.
Yeah, she attacks him with it, and he kind of toys with her, and then she.
And then it's dropped, and then he kills the guy with the sword. I see what you're saying though. Like that's what makes the stories between the two cross over so well. So that does like make it so vague, because there are so many little details that actually are consistent throughout each of their stories. Little pieces that you can put together, but overall the stories don't match because the motives are different. Everyone has an agenda.
It also ends with the dagger, even though we don't get a clear thing where the guy is like, "Hi, I know everything about the dagger and what you did with it," and then he walks off screen and stuff.
And then the guy steals a kimono and an amulet from an abandoned orphan. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like it's not murder or rape, but goddamn.
Well, he comes off as a dick anyway in the beginning.
No, yeah, he's clearly like a scumbag. Yeah,
he's like, priest, I don't want to hear your sermon. Just tell me a fucking good story, all right? And then he's like taking the fucking damaged, abandoned building and using it as fucking firewood.
I mean, it's a burned out building.
Yeah, but I kept on thinking, like, most of their culture, like everything's worshipped, and I'm just like, this thing's falling apart, and he's just not caring about it. I don't know. It's just me looking into it too much.
No, I mean, you've got a point.
I'm just kidding. No, it really though, like I think it's more they have to survive. So at this point, okay, I can use this wood to survive and stay warm during this rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what did you guys think of the movie itself? I know we've talked a lot about just actual plot and stuff, but I mean, did you like the movie?
I like this movie a lot. I don't think it's my favorite Kurosawa movie. It's not even I know it's not my top 3. I don't even think it's my top 5, but I think it's arguably the most important movie he ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I could get that. Well, again, I brought the effect up. If you have watched literally anything that has done the same thing in film or television, this is where it was inspired by this.
Oh yeah, there's an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation that does a Rashomon. There's a Simpsons. I think there's an episode of fucking Muppet Babies that is a Rashomon.
I would not be surprised. It is used in so many forms of media to tell stories. Now, it for good reason. It's really good.
Now, be fair, it is based on a book. Like this isn't Kurosawa didn't write this; he just wrote the screenplay. But apparently, it's a really short book. I guess I don't know. I've always thought about reading it. It turns up in what's that Jim Jarmusch movie with Forrest Whitaker in it? Something Samurai? No, something Dog. Ghost Dog. It's in Ghost Dog. It's like a weird. I'm spoiling the first scene of Ghost Dog, but Forrest Whitaker turns up and murders like a mob guy, and then like turns to his left, and the guy's daughter is sitting in the corner like reading a book, Rashomon. He's like, "Is that a good book?" And she's like, yeah. He says, "Can I borrow it?" And she says, "Yes." And he borrows Rashomon. he reads it throughout the first act of the movie. It's interesting.
So, what was that Kurosawa movie that we watched where there was a ransom with the child and stuff?
High and Low.
That's my favorite Kurosawa movie.
I mean, that's top 3. I mean,
yeah.
I'm reading here the story. It's a short story called In a Grove.
Yeah, that's right. It said that at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's right here. I got it pulled up. I was reading here. There are other things apparently that have a very similar, like almost at the same time. Well, it looks like it's a couple years after, but there was a Polish film that was being made, but it was never finished. But it was about like the true story and accounts of someone who survived Auschwitz, and using other eyewitnesses to also describe similar events, but how varying and different their stories were based on like how grandiose they made out certain things that happened versus just differences between the two. And the whole point is to kind of show when people undergo trauma, again, they will tell very different stories, even if they experience the same thing. And again, that's no different. It's human nature to do that. Even when you're trying to tell the truth, you're just not going to remember it all the same.
That's true.
Yeah.
Dubs, you were kind of getting off on a high and low sidebar there. It's just we've seen Toshiro Mifune in a bunch of stuff now. We've seen Yojimbo, we've seen Seven Samurai, we've seen this, and he's an outrageous weirdo in all of them. But don't forget, he's also Kondo. He's the old guy in High and Low. I don't want to downplay like Mifune's actual acting chops and his range.
Yeah, he's really good in High and Low, which, by the way, Chaz, you need to watch that movie, High and Low. It's my favorite Kurosawa movie.
It's great. I'm going to make you guys watch Akiru one day, and then we'll be able to have the full conversation about what his best movie is. But Mifune, like, I had an argument with someone once about this movie, and he said it's a fine movie, but he hates Mifune's acting in it. He says it's too over the top. I don't think so. I think it's perfect. I don't know if you guys have an opinion one way or the other, but he does go all in on a few scenes where I don't know if all in was what was called for or not.
It makes me like, because you watch a lot of anime, right? And there's like over the top stuff that happens, and then you watch Mifune, and I'm like, wait a second, like this
guy's a cartoon character.
Yeah, he's a very cartoon character, but I think he does does it well enough to be believable in this movie compared to Yojimbo, I think.
I think you saying that kind of made me think, like, Mifune is to certain kinds of anime the way I would say, like, Jim Carrey is to Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like they've got like an exaggerated facial expression kind of thing going on, and it's there, but it's not the same thing. I don't know. When you said it sparked in my mind.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I recommend this movie. Out of all the Kurosawa movie, I have to build up my Kurosawa collection because I think he's probably going to be one of my favorite directors.
As he should be.
So like,
he's definitely one of mine.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is like a really good movie, but I had a good time. I recommend it.
From now. I recommend it too. Of course, like I was saying, it's not necessarily Kurosawa's best movie, but he made so many bangers. It's definitely top 10. I don't know about top 5, but it is short and it's easy to watch. It's always somewhere. It's always on HBO Max or Amazon Prime or somewhere. It's a very accessible movie, and I just highly recommend it. If for no other reason than you'll see it and be like, oh, that's what all that stuff I watched was referencing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely recommend. I don't even think I had to. This is not a movie that I would have to recommend to someone who has to like samurai movies. This movie just happens to have a samurai in it, but this is a movie that you can just have anybody watch. And you actually had already mentioned something, Andy. Then I kind of found it a little refreshing. This movie is very short compared to the ones we've watched.
Yeah.
So it is very easy to just pick up and watch for what it is. I thought it was really good. Now, again, I'm limited as well, and I've actually saved High, Low, and Yojimbo on my saved list to watch. I nearly watched Yojimbo right after this. I was dying of the plague, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, you should watch it. But something I was thinking about is Baby's first Kurosawa is almost always either this or Yojimbo. Occasionally, Hidden Fortress, but really, most people I've talked to, the very first Kurosawa movie they saw was one or the other. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because they're both very digestible. They're both very easy to get into, but they're both also like classics.
Mm-hmm. But Zach says this was his theory, by the way. I think the commoner was the demon of the Rashomon.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Yeah, so
he wants that baby.
He was terrified by the evil of men, just as the priest said.
I'm going to call it the baby is Satan, and he just appeared out of nowhere and is going to ruin that guy's life now. But anyway, Andy, next movie is what?
Twilight Samurai from 2002. This is the only movie I chose for this month that I've never seen before, so I cannot speak to its greatness or whatever. But I read it was good. I wanted to mix it up with something more modern, and it seemed to fit the bill. So I really hope we all enjoy it, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, jumping ahead a little, but just curious, any idea where we can watch this movie? I accidentally forgot we were watching Rashomon, like just for a moment, and tried to look this movie up and was about to watch it before I remembered. And I had a hard time finding anywhere to stream this.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I looked it up.
Major problem.
Yeah, I could not find it on Amazon, which I was actually a little concerned about. So I could have looked at for the wrong movie though, so I'll have to try to look it up again. But yeah, if you have trouble, you always go to C's.
Yeah, it's on the seas, by the way. I do have it.
It is okay. Well,
everything's in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's on Korean Netflix.
Korean Netflix. There we go. That's what I need.
Now, only if Big Trouble Little Podcast had a VPN sponsorship, that would make you go to Korea.
That'd be the plug. Come on, hit us up.
Yes.
Talking whatever NordVPN. Come on.
Yeah, Nord's what I thought of. I was like, yeah. Let's get it.
I don't know. Right. The Blu-ray is $9. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
I'll keep looking off the air, but I'm sure we can figure something out.
Yeah, I may have just.
I do own it. I can just run it over to you.
Okay, yeah, no worries. I'll find it one way or the other. I was saying more for viewers if you had something right off the
I know. I always feel really bad about choosing something like weird like that, but I had no idea. Like I figured of all these movies, this would be the most accessible one because it came out this millennia.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. It's kind of funny. That's the one I've had the most difficulty so far, but that's okay.
All right. Well, let's get into the last word, but before that, there's usually this ad.
Wrestling nerds, wrestling weebs, wrestling fans. If you're looking for a different kind of podcast, one that goes over actual big wrestling news, I mean real stories, not somebody getting divorced or baseless rumors or whatnot, and Get Some Color, we got that. We also do reviews of wrestling from the past, but sometimes we also do wrestling from the modern day too, if it's something that interests us at the time. Other than that, I would say the main attraction is just three guys who have been lifelong wrestling fans doing what wrestling fans do. Cutting up, cracking jokes, and just enjoying the entertainment wrestling can provide, however that comes. If you want to catch Getting Some Color, you can catch it bi-weekly on Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, usually.
Yeah, and by the way, that's going to be WrestleMania 10. I know we were supposed to do that, I guess last week or something, and then all of a sudden, like, life stuff happened with my dad, and also the reason why we're doing Thursday Big Trouble is because I worked and everybody called out on me. So,
Well, that and we all got sick. I had the bronchitis. That's why I sound all weird and shit.
Yeah,
nasally.
Yeah, and everybody caught some type of sickness. Wow. Sorry, I had to get down to sickness anyway. Gaming wise, the only game I dabbled in because it's quick and easy is NHL. I was down one game win to 10 losses, and now I finally evened it up. I'm a 500 team, and I played with not buying any packs of cards, just with shitty fucking players. And now, since I grinded to get good players, I finally am winning. So that's all I done. Movie wise, actually, I've been watching The Foundation, which is on Apple TV. It's the Isaac Asimov trilogy, The Foundation, which has nothing. The show totally says fuck the plot. We're just gonna do our own thing. it's quite hilarious, but I'm having fun watching the show. Did I watch a bad movie? I thought I watched a bad movie. I forgot.
Must have not had much of an impact.
It had
Yeah, you watched enough bad movies last week for a month, so you're good.
I'm trying to think what I watched. Actually, I did watch something decent, I guess. It wasn't amazing. I totally forgot the title of it because it's like some type of demon called Petty Witch or Petty something. The story is it's about this like goth chick who's into a lot of like spells and black magic and stuff. And
as witches are.
Yes. And their father her father died. So the mom is like, I'm tired of this house we're living in. We need to move like stat. And she moves to like 2 hours away from where they lived. And the daughter is like pissed off because now she's not going to be with her goth friends and stuff. And there was like a altercation where the mom got drunk off of wine and said, every time I look at your face, I think of your father and I just want to rip your face off. And she and she goes into the woods crying and she puts a spell. She does like black magic of like to kill her mom from the demon that she summons. So it's kind of like a horror film where she doesn't know what is real and what is not real, and stuff happens in it. But it's an okay.
That sounds silly.
It sounds silly, but it had the fuck it had. You guys watch Walking Dead, right? Season 1.
Yeah, like the first half of season 1.
Yeah, you know the blonde chick that's good at shooting in season 1.
I think so. I haven't seen it in like 10.
Yeah, I forgot her name in the fucking show, but she's in the movie. She's the mom that is drunk and stuff. So at least they had some good actor, I guess, actress. But that's all I watched. Trying to think what else I've done. I've just been working. So Andy, what the hell you been watching, playing, or doing?
Where to start? Summer Games Done Quick is going on, so I've been watching some of that jazz. Originally I had a lot to say about how I can't stand watching parts of it, like in between the actual games, but whatever. I'm gonna just keep it to myself for now. But I watched speedruns of Link Between Worlds, Halo 3, Sonic Adventure. They've all been a hoot. Like when you get someone who really knows how to like destroy a game from the inside out, it's just so much fun to watch. But I was watching some of that. I watched the Monaco Grand Prix. A pretty predictable ending for the most part. Monaco is the shortest, smallest track in F1, so passing on it is just really hard. And for the most part, they just kind of like finish where they started. Sort
Not
of.
for Tony Stark. He's passing all kinds of people.
But there's I don't know. It was there were some surprises, except on the podium. But it was fine. While I was sick, I was just watching like crap, just whatever YouTube wanted to play, whatever. Like I turned on the Fire Stick and it was like, hey, you should watch fucking Anastasia on Hulu. And I was like, should I watch fucking Anastasia on Hulu? I don't give a fuck. And so I watched Anastasia on Hulu, that animated movie that came out in the late 90s. Ralph Bakshi or Don Bluth, not Ralph Bakshi. Don Bluth worked on it.
Yeah, John Cusack's in it. Funny enough, my wife's a Disney nut, but for some reason that is her favorite animated movie, and it's now a Disney movie, but it's not. Like it's owned by Disney, but
it was Fox Family Studios. That's right. So now it's a Disney movie.
Yeah, now it's a Disney movie. But yeah, it's her favorite. That's her favorite animated movie as a child.
Really?
Yeah. Because we actually went and saw it in Broadway. The Broadway show is different. There's no Bartok.
Good, but I remember like as a kid, like kind of liking it. And I thought this would be cool. I love Don Bluth movies. I fucking love them. Man, I was underwhelmed. I just kind of thought it was boring. The whole goddamn thing. Like I was like, this is so predictable and terrible. And I just got really bored. And at the end, Christopher Lloyd turns up and they throw him in a river in Paris. Whoop-de-doo. It's just like out of nowhere. Like the whole movie, he's the bad guy, and literally she meets him in the final scene. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? But excuse me. After that, I was like, well, I gotta watch a good Don Bluth movie and wash that out of my mouth. So I watched Secret of Nim. Did you guys ever watch Secret of Nim?
No.
What? Nope. Really?
No.
Okay, never mind. I guess I don't know what else to say besides I watched Secret of Nim, and
I'll check it out.
It's it's the best example of a movie that's rated G, and I have no fucking clue how. Like motherfuckers getting stabbed with swords and crushed to death and like electrocuted, and it's like edgy. No, it's really good though. Secret of Nim is like one of my favorite animated movies of all time. It's fantastic. And then besides that, I've played Tears of the Kingdom for like a million hours. God damn it, the game is so much fun. It pisses me off how fun that game is. The story, I think I said a lot of this last week, but really the story is like, who cares? But the whole game is just so unbelievably fun. It's just, I'm having just like childlike joy the whole time. I'm like combining stuff and like, there's a lot of enemies running all over and you can just run up on them and, stab them with a sword or hit them with a spear or whatever. But there's so many creative ways to like drop things on them or hit them with a truck or like attach an explosive barrel to a spear and then throw the spear overhead into one of their faces and it explodes and kills 3 guys. It's just it's so much like mischievous joy. High roll mischief simulator is what I've been calling it. It's so much fun. The game's great, but fuck, I mean, like 4 out of 5 people are playing the game right now. Who am I to talk it up? Who cares? But yeah, that was pretty much it. I
can't believe you haven't beaten it yet. Some guy beat it like an hour or something.
I mean, honestly, I there's a lot of stuff I could be doing that game. I'm just having too much fun. Just like what adventure lies over the next hill, and I just go over the next hill, and there's like a fort to clean out, or some idiot needs help hanging a sign, or there's a shrine with puzzles in it for me to solve, or there's a well to explore, or a cave, or a tower to climb, a mountain to get on top of. Like it's just everything around every corner, over every hill. There's a new adventure to have. I just can't get anything done.
Oh, I forgot to mention one other movie, which is it's from Reliable People. Cronenberg is the director. Christopher Walken is the star. And it's The Dead Zone. It's a Stephen King novel into a movie.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know Cronenberg directed that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. I never watched the actual movie. I watched the TV show Anthony Michael Hall in it.
Oh yeah,
After
that's
reading
it.
the book,
Yeah,
they made it into a TV series, which it was.
Yeah, it's a little, but this movie has one scene where I'm not gonna go through the whole plot. It's just a guy who sees like possible people gonna die, or like a situation where Michael Douglas is a senator. He's running for senator, and when he shakes his hand, he's like Michael Douglas is the president, and he's forcing his general to put his hand on the nuke button so that he can unlock the nuke, so he can launch nukes at Russia. Like that's, and then there's another scene that happens, but there's one iconic scene where he's tutoring this rich family's kid, and they're all going to play hockey on the pond, and they're supposed to like die in the water. Like the pond is supposed to break. So he goes up to the father. He's like, "You can't bring your kid to ice hockey." And the father's like, "Yeah, fuck off. I'm not. I know about you. You see like all this dead shit. I want you out of my son's life. I'll give you your last paycheck down the road." So Christopher Walken takes his cane, smashes a vase. He's like, "The ice is gonna break," and it's so funny. But it's a good film to watch. I liked it. But Chaz, what about you? What the hell you been watching, playing, or doing?
Yeah, so I'll show these off first. I just got these in. It's what I'm lacing right now. These are the Air Jordan 1 exclusives for the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
AKA, if you watched the AEW pay-per-view, the exploding shoe. That's what the Jacksons were wearing. Now, funny enough, I bought these before I knew that was what they were going to wear, but I thought that was really funny because after that Spot Fest nonsense, one of their Amazon reviews about these shoes right now, or reviews in general, was he put on there, is like, I don't know if I'd recommend them. Mine exploded. That's kind of funny. But so I didn't think I'd get a whole lot done. But the last 4 days I have not worked because I've been sick. I moved, and after moving, I got really sick. It started with just a little sore throat, and then it turned into bronchitis, and I was basically paralyzed in a chair. So I watched a lot of stuff. I guess I'll talk about games first because I did play one game. I finished The Last of Us Part 1. I did that last night.
Is that what we have to call it now? Last of Us Part 1?
Yeah, because there's a Part 2.
Yeah, that's what they officially call it. Yeah, I finished that, and I have The Last of Us Part 2 ready to start. But as you know, in 1 hour and 2 minutes, we got Street Fighter 6 rolling out, so I'm gonna be doing that a little bit. But anyway, I watched WWE Night of Champions and AEW Double or Nothing. They were back-to-back pay-per-views that came on this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch any of them live. I watched them after the fact. They were fine. I actually think I enjoyed Night of Champions more.
Yeah,
I still haven't decided yet. I'm toss up, but like they were still really good. I really liked the Fatal 4-Way for the championship in AEW. I thought it was really good. I didn't have high expectations for it because the build-up was kind of eh. Most of the guys just can't cut promos, but the match itself was pretty good. Actually, the funniest thing or the best thing of the whole AEW show was the post interview. And MJF was just based as fuck for like 20 minutes. And he was like, they were like, "Why did you go second? Why didn't you main event?" He's like, "I didn't want to roll around in that white pussy's blood talking about Jon Moxley because he knew that he was going to bleed everywhere for his match." And I was like, okay. I mean, that's pretty fair. But yeah, he went off about how like there's no one left to challenge him and all that. And then let's see. I won't go into more wrestling stuff. When we talk about WrestleMania 10, if we want to briefly talk about stuff later, we can do that. So catch that next Thursday if you're listening. To try to stay succinct, as far as movies, I just watched Nope. Like I actually watched that just a few hours ago.
Yes.
That movie is awesome. I did not know where it was going.
That's the best Jordan Peele movie.
Yeah, as I said on it, I still couldn't decide if I liked it more than Us or not. But yeah, I do. It was great. It took me a minute to sit really on it too and kind of figure out what the message was.
Yeah.
But it made more sense after I realized that everybody wants their 15 seconds or 15 minutes, right?
Exactly
Mhm.
right.
What's it worth to you? Yeah, but no, it was really good. I really liked that played out. I was like, oh shit, giant fucking Cthulhu jellyfish. Let's go.
I hope Zach will watch it now
Yeah.
that it's
Yeah.
available.
I hope he's not listening to me call it a Cthulhu jellyfish. But
Yeah, that's a bit of a like at first you're thinking it's just a good old fashioned weirdo sci-fi nonsense, but as the movie goes on, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
yeah.
To answer your question, Zach,
No, it's an actual movie. There's no race baity bullshit.
No, not at all. Like honestly, the
Yeah.
main character and his sister are black, and I think everyone else is just other races.
There.
Like it's just,
Yeah, I don't think that I don't. Well, to be fair, like I think what he's referring to every other Jordan Peele movie, there are a lot of heavily implied racial connotations, which again that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. This movie doesn't have anything like that. This one has a very direct message. I think that's just otherwise tied up in a thrill ride.
Yeah.
I will say it's not that it's a slow burn. It does just take a little bit of time to pick up off the ground.
It's just
Mhm.
you don't know what you're in for at first.
No,
Like I
you
went to see the
don't.
movie at the theater, and thank God none of the trailers like spoil what the hell happens in it. I just
Mhm.
knew like it was some weird. Maybe it's a western, maybe it's a horror movie. Kind of like that's what I was in for, and then it like
Uh-huh.
turns into like a sci-fi drama meta Hollywood movie. It's like, what the fuck is this movie?
It's a little bit of Western kind of thrown in there for flavor. I
there's
really
still
enjoyed it.
in there too. Like
There's a
honestly,
little Western standoff at the end. I laughed so hard. That was great.
The final shot of that movie where the dust clears and he's on the horse, that's like the best final shot of any movie to come out in like 20 years.
Mhm.
It is. It is really
love it.
good.
It's
It
so
is-
perfect. And he looks right toward the camera, and you're like, this movie was great.
Yeah.
My spirit animal in this film is the white guy from Hollywood with the camera and stuff.
The weirdo, the old guy.
He's like, I'm gonna get this.
He's
It's gonna be great.
He's using hand crank stuff. We're gonna make a hell of a movie. He like comes out from the camouflage, like using it.
Yeah. So one other thing I laughed pretty hard about, which I get it was the whole point of the movie being named what it is, other than the other like flashback scene that gets played, which that's another thing. I didn't know why at first that part was in there, but again, once you get the message of the movie, it makes more sense. It's like how screwed it actually kind of ties into what we watched tonight. Like you make up stories about things. Like how screwed up is the one guy to deal with his own trauma, uses the SNL skit to get around the trauma that he actually witnessed. That's how he explains it to people. It's like that's really fucked up.
Now, double don't spoil that though.
I won't. I just like Chris Kattan. He crushed it. I was like, what?
Two things I'm gonna mention because I want Zach to actually watch it because it is like again that's my favorite Jordan Peele movie. The sister, I fucking hated her, but like she had a good arc where I was like, I fucking like her now.
Yeah.
And
wow, character development. That's
yeah,
Yeah,
and-
well, it's actually a really important part. Go continue, but I have something with that. Yeah,
and two, I'm not gonna spoil it because this is the scene that like made me burst out a laugh, and I want Zach to have the same feeling. But the TMZ fucking motorcycle guy.
That's such a great fake out too.
Yeah.
No, that is when they're like, "Oh shit, TMZ," and then like, "Oh, there's no way he lived." Ah! No, my favorite. I think one of my favorite scenes. It just made me laugh so hard. Is when he is about to get out of the truck and he looks up and he sees everything happening to the house, and he closes the door and he goes, "Nope." Which is the whole thing of the movie. It's like 100% get it. But then also when the that like horse statue crashes through the window,
Yeah.
and he just sits there for a second, like just thinking through like all the different things he could possibly do, like how fucked he is sitting in that truck, and he just locks the door. I laughed so
Like that's gonna do anything.
he sat there for 2 seconds and then just locked. I laughed so fucking hard. I was the same way. I had to pause it a few times. I was laughing. Like, there's actually some really good subtle comedy in the movie, just from contextual stuff that happens.
That's actually the way that scene is put together. Made one of my favorite movie theater experiences ever, because I don't like going to the theater that much. Like 90% of it is a hassle, but there's that 10% where, like, as an audience, everyone has like kind of an experience, and that was one of them, because that whole scene is so stressful and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just so scary. And he looks out and then leans back in it, and nope, and it like does the door thing, and like the whole audience, everyone was like scared to laugh too loud. Everyone was
Yeah.
like stifling a laugh about it. It was a really nice theater moment. I like.
Well, to be fair, with what's happening at the same time, I get that. Like,
no one wanted to be too loud. Like, it's it's too terrifying.
Oh yeah, everybody's about to piss himself, but then it's like funny. It's like the perfect blend. Like, to me, there's that like it's probably longer. It's like 4 or 5 minutes. Like, the whole movie itself is great, but that 5 minute sequence is near just like doing shot to shot for things, plus the ending that you mentioned. Like, for me at least, he's hit a ceiling so far. Like, what he's done, like, that's like the best set of stuff he has filmed. Just because of, you don't even need much. But again, like, the story itself, he still does a lot of the things where there's tons of little Easter eggs that are hiding.
Yeah,
there's
everything about this
it's
movie,
still very smart.
Everything about this movie feels like a movie made by someone who loves watching movies.
Yeah. 100%.
And I don't know if you noticed, because after I watched this movie, what I like to do is, when a movie hits me good, I want to hear people's analysis and like videos on it on YouTube. So I watched like a good video essay of Nope, and they brought up the fact, because they bring up the chimp on that TV show who rips people's faces off and kills them and stuff. What?
Damn it! Never mind. Sorry, Zach.
Well, that's not a spoil. I mean, it happens literally in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, but they don't like spell it out for you. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
the main theme that connects to the monster thing is when you stare at the animal is like in defensive mode and attacked. Yeah. And if you notice, the Asian kid, he was not having eye contact with the chimp. Is the reason why he didn't get attacked. It's not because, like, oh, we're best buds. And just watch it again, and
well, but that's like the aha moment in the. I mean, I hate just spelling out the whole thing, ruining it for Zach. But he has that realization about horses, blinders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
well, that's the whole thing, is they're comparing how it's an animal, and again, just with animals that can be predators or that can be dangerous, you can't push them to certain limits and do this and that.
Yeah, he explains it in like the first scene of the movie. He's telling the actors, like, don't look the horse in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's an important thing too. It ties into the character, the female, where she's, I guess, since we're already there, like, what are you willing to do, or what costs and sacrifices are you willing to make to get your 15 minutes of fame, to try to reach that top of the mountain? Like, are you willing to go too far? And then it kind of ties with the animals too. Like, will you exploit or push another living creature, and how far will you do that in order to achieve the same goal? Because that's really what it ties down to. Trying to use this thing to then get famous, just like they did using the chimp to have this TV show, and then it led to what it did and everything. But
the trailer of this movie, it throws you off. Like Andy said, you think it's like an invasion film or something like that.
Every movie should be advertised the way Nope was.
Yes, and
100% agree. I had no idea what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene, when I forgot the guy's fucking act. He's Glenn from Walking Dead, the Asian guy.
The guy who works at Fry's.
Yeah. Oh no, the guy at the horse, where they put the horse.
Jupe.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Jupe. That's his name. That's what they call him, Jupe.
Yeah. There's a part, because they bring up the TV show of one of the faces and stuff, and I thought that was like an alien or whatever, because they showed us like alien, possible alien invasion in the trailer, and then they showed us woman's fucked up face. I'm like, wait, is that an alien just sitting in the crowd? But like, it's so well what they did with the trailer, so I highly recommend that movie. It's so good.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite movies to come out last year. Period.
Yeah, it was very good. I'm glad I watched it. I want to watch it again pretty soon and just see little Easter eggs and
Talking
stuff.
about it makes me want to watch it again.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Technically now watching it, I was like, shit, I want to add it to my list because there's a 6 could be 7, but I'm gonna leave it off. But anyway, um, so now I'll dive into other things that I watched. I went down like a rabbit hole with anime. I don't know. I should put the hat back on, maybe. So that'll finish the next section. No, that's just getting racist. I'm gonna stop. All right. Um, I'm just gonna say this because I don't want to talk about it too much more because I'll be here way too long. Um, if you haven't watched Attack on Titan or you've not given it a chance, just do it.
Like Nike.
What the absolute shit that what happened? It flips on its head. I was not expecting what happened at all. That story went in such a total different direction than what I was expecting, but in like a good way, but still just in like a really like stressful. Like I'm not gonna say it's like all happy or anything like that. Like it's a really messed up show, but like the story is really fucked up, but it is really good. And the actual message I think gets lost. There's a lot of stuff out there about actually, I saw that the latest season and stuff has been called out for a lot of like anti-Semitic or like pro-fascist stuff, and there's been a lot of like cycled stuff about the creator being a Nazi sympathizer, and people are totally missing the point of the show. Like this is no different than reading Mouse. Like if you read Mouse, you're not reading it to sympathize with Nazis. You're reading it because you're seeing the horrors of what's happened.
Is that the direction
point.
we're going? We're not even going to be able to make media where fascists are the bad guys anymore.
Oh no, like people were upset because there is so much display in there, and they're not necessarily like there's similarities to it. Uh, I mean, really heavy similarities to it, but it's really just showing how two groups of people can go through a really, or like two countries can go through such a vicious cycle of hate, and that just perpetuates for so long that even when like you get to the individual people that can be good to each other, like they still have this deep-seated ignorant hatred for something they don't understand, and so then when they're at war, there's nobody that's right, nobody that's wrong, and a lot of innocent people are just going to die. And it's supposed to point out how ugly the whole thing is.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of it. But it's great. And it's
I
over
hate
the
when
top
I hate.
shit. Oh, it's so over the top. Like there's such a really cool scene in season 4 when well, I'm just like I won't get into it, but fuck, that show is brutal. But like, if you like watching shit like that and like you enjoy it, it's good. But again, the story's actually there. It's not just also just be a gore fest, but it's it's heavy. It also
Don't worry, I'll get down on a gore fest. I fucking love Fist of the North Star, baby.
oh yeah, no, it is some gory shit. It's not quite as graphic as Chainsaw Man, but it's still really messed up. But the story is so much darker. Um,
Uh,
and like we're talking like genocide dark. Like it definitely goes clear into that, and it makes you question a lot of stuff. It's good. I think it's a really good thing to watch. Also, Dubs, I'll let you get to it. I just want to finish this.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know if I've ever watched an anime series that has consistently just nailed the songs they use for their show, especially in the later seasons. Like I've had the songs used for the last season in my head, um, like just repeatedly. Like, they're just really good songs. um, Funny enough, the series isn't over yet. They made a special,
I thought it
which
was.
they haven't. They did the final season, parts 1 and 2, and then the way they did part 3 is to end it is a special
Oh,
that
they're
was
all gonna
broken
go on
into two
vacation.
part.
It's the beach special where they're gonna be in bikinis, right?
I really want you to watch that, and then I want to remind you that you said that, and think, well, that was exactly the opposite of a vacation. uh, but anyway, there's a 1 hour special. It's part 1, and then the second 1 hour special is supposed to come out in the fall. But they haven't done an English dub of either special yet. But I just went ahead and watched the first special in Japanese. Like, one, we've been watching all these Japanese films, so I don't mind anyway. And I don't typically mind, but normally my policy is whatever I listen to or what I watch it in, that's what I want to watch it in. So I broke that. I watched all of what was in English first, and then that special, I just had to know where the story went from where it was at. So I was like, damn it, I don't care. I'll read subtitles. So I watched it, but absolutely a really great story. Yeah, I mean, especially because the length isn't too long. Like, it's probably up there near my top anime that I've watched. Um, I don't know how. I don't think it beats out my top three, but it's up there. Uh, as far as other anime that I've watched, I don't know how I got into this one, but this one's kind of funny. I'd also recommend it, but for a different reason. I watched Overlord. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Overlord.
Yeah, he's like a bad guy, right?
It's okay. I'm just gonna explain the first episode and then like let it kind of stick to be the nonsense. So the whole thing is is a random guy. He just your regular everyday person works in an office, lives in an apartment by himself, and in his spare time he plays what they call a DMMORPG, which is a dive MMO, but it's an MMO. He's playing WoW basically,
What a dork.
and this game was like highly addictive, and it was a really big success. But it had reached its lifespan, so the servers were about to go down. So this man was the leader of the guild, and it was like the largest guild or one of the largest guilds in the entire game. So he was the guild leader, and he logged in for the last time and decided, you know what, I'm gonna be there when it closes just to see what happens. So he's there and he's like goofing off, like changing some like his friends. They built their own tomb and this big shrine and have all these silly things, and they have these this entire like arsenal of guardians and maids that take care of the tomb for them that are NPCs that they programmed, and he's like changing things about them and being cheeky. He's like, it doesn't matter, all this is going to be over soon. So the timer hits, and then it like goes fades to black, and then the timer picks back up, and then he wakes up and he can't figure out, wait a second, what happened, why am I no longer at home in my office, like why am I looking through the game this way? He's like freaking out. He got sucked into the game, and the game is continued, and that is the premise of like how it starts. And then from there, it just goes into, okay, he just is now this like the undead lich lord that runs this tomb in this like fantasy world, and it's all like it's really funny because there's really heavy MMORPG and really heavy like Dungeons and Dragons references just riddled throughout it, like constantly, like of him like there's one thing where he's about to fight somebody that he knows it's going to take a while, and he's like, well, I don't get aggro on this person unless I make a direct attack. I'm going to take as much opportunity as I can. So he proceeds to cast like 100 buff spells on himself, and it makes you watch him cast all of them. Like it's just really funny, dumb shit like that. But it's okay. It's not bad, but it is kind of funny. It
sounds fun. It sounds like Dot Hack meets Record of Lodos War. I like Record of Lodos War.
I've not watched the latter, but Dot Hack, yeah, it's very similar. Or Us. I don't know. Have you ever watched Sword Art Online?
I watched some of it when it was on Toonami, like here and there, like random episodes. I didn't watch a bunch in a row. Or
honestly, that's a show I might go to next because I liked the premise of that. It's a little like that, but there's no on and off. Like he's just there. But what's hilarious about it, and I'll spoil this, he is God. Like he is by far the strongest thing that exists in this like series until like the very last episode or last sets of episodes that we're on, which I don't know if they're going to make another season. They made 4, and it's been a few years since they've made another, but the story clearly continues on. So I don't know if they're ever going to make another, which is really sad if they're ever.
I wonder what's higher than God.
But he is by far the strongest thing. Like, he takes out an entire army pretty early on, and like it's just hilarious watching him interact. He thinks that he has to he wants to build a reputation, and he like makes himself into like an alias and is going around as an adventurer. And because he's like max level caster, he actually can class change and cheat. So he puts on armor and pretends to be like a warrior because that's his handicap for others. But he's still by far stronger than any other warrior because he's that much over leveled compared to everyone else. And when he talks about it, everyone else in the world, like they are NPCs that have come to life. So to them, they talk about, oh, this man's spirit is just so strong, and they talk about like other things you use to describe someone being strong, and he's like, yeah, I'm level 100, I'm capped out. Your attack roll can't possibly be high enough. It's like shit like that. But he goes to the forest to fight some evil entity, and it turns out to be like a hamster chimera that is like just pissant weak, and he like forces it to be his pet just for the hell of it because it's so much weaker that it would be to him it would be bad. Um, I don't know. He also like right at the beginning, but because I said he was like manipulating things, he turned one of the NPCs into it's a succubus, and he made the character's personality to be madly in love with him. But he considers those NPCs as his kids. So when he gets up in the real world, she constantly wants to have sex with him.
Oh
But he
God.
feels like it's weird to do that. So the whole series, she's like all the females want to have sex with him, and he's like, I don't know what to do.
Mm.
Um, the other nice thing is that the NPCs are smarter than him, but they all revere him as like this like supreme god. So he'll like do things, but he's doing them for like such a superficial reason, and they'll come up with reasons why he did it, and he's like, yeah, that's why I did that. And like there's a separate voice for his character's voice and his own. So his inner voice, he'll describe something. It's like, wait, what? Why is that happening? Uh, this is kind of funny. But anyway, I would recommend it for anybody that's into D&D MMOs. It's a funny show. I thought it was interesting enough to watch. So let's see. Um, oh, I did some Pokemon stuff, but I mean that's not. Yeah, we can move past that.
Did you own kids?
Oh no, I didn't actually go play. It was more just like collecting. I did a little trading and then just trying to
Oh.
organize. I've picked like the next set of things I'm hunting down to build a collection of. You know, what else can I spend money on?
Oh, did we get
So-
an update on that guy who tried to like scam you or whatever? Or was it to the post office?
Oh yeah, it all got resolved. We both got our money back. I don't really know what happened. I got my money back. That's all I care about.
That's good.
Yeah, it all worked out. Um, so yeah, other than that, surviving the bronchitis. I did have some news.
Well, before we get into the news, when you were talking about Attack on Titan, I wanted to bring up people are retarded. Just let them fucking talk storytelling. Whether if you hate a character and hate what they're doing, there's a reason why it's written that way. That's what I wanted to bring up. And second thing, when I'm sorry, Andy, when you brought up Fist of the North Star and gore and stuff, apparently there's like a thing going around where anime they're doing like family settings where they you could turn the blood red from white.
White,
So
yeah.
And there's a scene where in Fist of the North Star where the guy, gets beat up and blood splatters. It looks like he's cooming,
Mhm.
and it's fucking hilarious.
Those are funny things. I've seen some gifs to that kind of stuff, and they're all pretty hilarious.
Yeah. But as far as news wise, Chaz, what news do you have?
Oh yeah, sorry. For some reason my Alexa alarm was going off, so I had to go deal with that. But so news on 2 games that are coming out. One, it's coming out in like half an hour, and then one that's going to be coming out next week. So Street Fighter 6, of course, dropping very soon. It's gotten a lot of glowing reviews. Well, someone over the last like 24, 48 hours has put out stuff about how they did the thing that we just should expect from everyone, in that initial game is sent out, everyone gets to review it, put their reviews out, and see how great it is. And then after that, when they load it up and it's actually available, they show that you can't actually get a lot of like the customizable stuff you think you could get. Like you can't get certain skins and other things because they are all locked behind Battle Pass, and there are like 3 different currencies, one of which you either have to grind, or the other that you can grind or you can buy, and the other one you just have to buy out directly, and everything's just locked into microtransactions, which is shitty because this is on a game that you already have to spend $70 to get.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
That sucks. The game looked like an all-around winner, and then they're going to taint it.
Is it 70? I thought it was 60.
I'm pretty sure it's 70 for PS5. I mean, I bought the Ultimate, which was just $10 more, but
That'd be 70, right?
Yeah,
Or was it 80?
the
Well,
Ultimate was 80, but I'm pretty sure the regular price is $69.99. I'm pretty sure it's 70. But it's kind of one of those things where at this point it's just a standard fare. Like I just expect that. But at the same time, it stinks. I mean, technically, they are releasing a complete game, and they are releasing a game in which you can still enjoy it as much as you want without needing to buy anything. So what they're selling is still not anything that would truly affect the enjoyment of the game, but it's still kind of crappy.
It's so shitty. Like, just put that behind. Like, if you want people to play to unlock stuff, then do it the old-fashioned way, where you just like, oh, you do one character and you get the things unlocked. But I understand business; they want fucking money. They're gonna double dip. They're gonna double dip with the battle pass and then the fight pass with all the characters and now all this currency stuff. Like you said,
I don't necessarily mind those things as long as if there truly is a way to just play the game and you play it enough that you get the things that are there. I think that's fine. If you have to spend money in order to get it, or you have to spend money in order to like progress through a game, that's a problem.
Yeah, no, that's no good right there.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that? This is kind of an aside news to that brand new Assassin's Creed game was getting rated by the Peggy, whatever, the European ESRB, and one of the things it was rated for was I can't remember how it's phrased, but it's basically like real life with real money gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because
no one knows what that means yet, but
yeah.
Well, I know
it's interesting.
I know with the European market, they were hitting hard on the loot crates and stuff. I think that's why Overwatch and all that stuff.
My understanding was it was phrased in a way that's unprecedented. Like those other games, like Battlefront or Overwatch or whatever, they phrased it in a certain way. But this new Assassin's Creed has some brand new way of phrasing it that involves like real money gambling or something.
So I wonder.
Everyone was like, "Wait, what the fuck does that mean? Why did you have to invent a whole new description for it?" But no one has said what it means yet. It's just
that's interesting.
I'm curious to see, like, is this just like real ass gambling in Assassin's Creed now? You got to put your credit card in, and play slots.
I wouldn't put that past Ubisoft. They're fucking desperate at this point now.
Yeah, no, Ubisoft is They need some wins, and that doesn't sound like one to me. But
yeah, I mean Ubisoft and EA have been at that for a hot minute now. I remember
thought that was interesting.
No one ever really talked about it, but it really sucked because Mass Effect 3. I don't know, I'm just randomly bringing it up, but Mass Effect 3 was like, forget about the story because the story is really good until the end, and they fixed that, whatever. But a hidden gem in that was the multiplayer. The multiplayer to that game was actually phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get the weapons, you had to play the lotto. You had to literally spend money. Like the grinding was so slow, it took far too long to grind, and everything was completely random with the loot crates. In fact, they even had certain, like if you spent certain types of currency, you had a better chance to get certain types of crates. Like they intentionally did it in a way that the only way to feasibly get the weapons that you would want to make you better at the game would help. And it's not just that you get the weapons, but you had to keep unlocking those weapons to get the higher levels of those weapons. It was really shitty. It was very scummy, but aside from that, it was actually a really good game. It's a shame that it was like locked up like that. It kind of sucks, but nevertheless, like it's kind of crappy. And I think that's where a lot of that's coming from. If they are really pushing, if they're really trying to push microtransactions to that degree, and it's actually random chance, it could be just a new way to word for that. But it would be interesting if the game just outright has gambling in it, and there's just a gambling system.
That'd be weird. I don't even know how they'd police something like that.
Just Altair just goes into a fucking casino and it's fucking does slot machines inside of a fucking pyramid.
Hey kids, we're gonna teach you how to play craps.
You
So the
say you
other
had one more
news,
news? Yeah.
yeah, it actually ties into this. So Diablo 4, another game that is getting rave reviews. People are going on and on talking about how addictive the video gameplay is, which really sucks because I heard that I was like, oh man, a Diablo that's addictive. What?
Mhm.
But it was also getting great reviews uh, across the board until it was also mentioned that upon launch, it is going to have just an entire plague of microtransactions. Well, I can't remember that. Was it Immortal? Was that the one that was on phones or mobile that
Yeah.
Sounds
that
right.
caused
Yeah.
problems? And it was like you have to spend
You
you'd
guys
have to
got
spend
phones, don't you?
like yeah, you have to spend like tens of thousands of dollars or something to unlock everything. Um,
Well, if that's the case, I'm not getting it then.
well, it's like that
Yeah, I'm not
apparently.
getting it.
Yeah, so I'd give warning to those because it's like that just sucks. It's like
It,
why?
I shouldn't be shocked because it's fucking Blizzard Activision and like I should know that's coming, but like the beta was great. And this early access stuff that I've been watching, I was like, oh man, this looks like fucking Diablo 2, but better graphics and stuff and looked like better controls. But my main thing was auction house had to be good, and also the microtransactions, and I'm
Maybe it's
upset.
something they can fix. I don't know. Both of these games, they've been like in my eyes, they were both things I would potentially get right away because I want to play them with my friends, you know.
Mhm.
But this just kind of demotes both of them to double wait and see. Like I was already maybe going to wait and see. I'm trying to get away from buying games at launch, but I mean I did it with Tears of the Kingdom because I'm a huge Nintendo simp cuck bitch loser. But I don't know. Like it I don't know. I don't have money for it anyway. But yeah, I'll wait and see. Maybe it's not as bad as people are saying. Because honestly, I think it just gets clicks at this point. Like I was saying that Assassin's Creed thing, and I was thinking about that
Hmm.
when I clicked on it to read it. It's like it just kind of seems sensational to be like, oh, I'm gonna go look at this. And you were describing the way Street Fighter works. It just reminded me of the way Rainbow Six Siege worked, and I learned to work within the boundaries of that system and love it. So
Hmm.
I don't
I
know.
I
If a
think
game's good enough, maybe I'll let it slide a bit, but it's got to be pretty damn good.
I
I
think
mean, I
it's
don't. Oh, go ahead, Dubs.
I think it's just again, I understand why they do it. It's because of the money and people are buying into it and it's just nonstop and stuff. But it really irks my fucking brain when I'm like this vanilla character and this other guy's like decked out and shit and stuff. And I'm like,
Well,
well, that
fine.
looks that looks cool, but like at the same time, I gotta buy that in order to look cool like
Oh,
that.
Ryu and a white gi, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
my
think. Oh, go ahead, Dubs. You're good. Finish.
yeah, my main thing is like I want to unlock that. I don't want to pay money for that.
Yeah, I'd like it to at least be possible. Like
Yeah.
that's part of the reason I got around Rainbow Six Siege was it took forever, but you can unlock everything in that game. You can do it.
Hmm.
You just have to have no life and be extremely good at playing online against real people,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which
that's
I
how.
don't and I wasn't.
That's how. So a game that initially didn't have that they then built it into their system, and it worked out, I think. And now their system is a really good one to model on. And all I'm saying this, I'm giving praise, is League of Legends. Uh,
Uh,
so originally, League of Legends had a system where you could earn and grind the currency to then buy the characters or the champions that you wanted to use, which is the right way to make sure of. Like again, if you have to buy or pay money to actually progress or keep up, that's a whole different thing.
yeah.
Um,
Probably
but
cosmetics. Like I was hammering Diablo 4. I think we just kind of brush it off like
Mhm.
with Street Fighter 6. We're just like it's probably cosmetics, and we're still gonna play it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's but what they did was like so in League, you could get a champion that way and play. But if you wanted like the really cool skins, especially ones that are like time sensitive, you have to buy them at certain times, and you had to pay money for them. But eventually, they came out with this system where you could take extra, you could earn like these little items, and then you could break down items you earn, and if you do certain quests or hit certain achievements, playing mastery with different champions, you get more of those things of essence, and you can turn them in and then use them to buy character or buy skins and stuff. So they found a way where you could technically unlock everything, but like Andy said, you'd have to have no life. But more importantly, that game has so much diversity, you could just do that for the characters that you like, and then you're done. And for me, I don't mind spending the money if it's something I really wanted to have. If it's on a specific character or whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to unlock every single little thing in a game like that, but at the same time, it doesn't functionally affect how the game plays. So I'm okay. Like, I don't mind that. Like Overwatch, I don't necessarily mind how they've done Overwatch, because again, you can play the characters. You can unlock the characters in a way that you don't have to spend actual currency or money to do so. So with what Zach was saying there, the thing I read didn't specify. I know that there was stuff, customizable stuff for the World Tour character, but specifically they mentioned character skins, like they were talking about player skins. But
As
I
long as
don't
it's
think
not
that.
characters.
Yeah, it said nothing about actual characters. Like the characters that are unlocked, and then there's a season pass for DLC, but that's expected anyway. But the battle pass stuff, I think, was more for cosmetics. Like you could unlock items for your world tour, like avatar. You could unlock stuff like maybe banners and stuff for your profile. You'd unlock, and there are certain costumes and stuff that are going to be unlocked that way. But they're still going to have costumes that you can unlock different ways too. So people like went in on it and like all pissy about it. But the long grand scheme of things, I don't think it's going to affect the gameplay or how you get stuff. The other thing too that wasn't clear was if there was an alternative way to unlock everything, and more importantly, it was that when testers or reviewers got the game to play, none of that was there. And then after they patched to get ready for the actual live release, these things were added. So I think that's where people.
Sneaky. I don't like that. Like if it was just there to begin with and it was just cosmetic and it didn't affect gameplay, yeah, fine, whatever.
But that's what games
that's sneaky. I don't like that so much.
That's what a lot of developers have been doing. It started. Gran Turismo did that. Resident Evil 4 did that. The Resident Evil 4 remake did that after the game was reviewed and released.
DLC in it. What's the big damn deal?
Well, not the DLC. They actually put in the stuff where you could buy gun upgrades and stuff that weren't included when the game was originally reviewed. So again, it's even though it's stuff you don't need to play the game, you can get it to make the game easier for you to get through. But again, they added it after the fact that it's reviewed. So it's a very sketchy thing to do to make sure your reviews are better, that people don't call you out on it. Again, same thing with Diablo. Like Diablo.
If you want to buy something to make the game easier for yourself in single player, I've always kind of been all for that. It's your game. You paid $60 to $70 for it. If you want to buy the map in Forza, if you want to buy the guns in Resident Evil, what buddy?
Yeah, I think the overall theme is more that having those things hidden. Yeah, exactly. I totally bought it. But the whole point is that regardless of what the things are for, nothing seems like it's anything that would directly like inhibit progression unless you purchase it. But not allowing people to see the entirety of what your game is to be critiqued, and then putting it after you've given it like all these flowers, that's a concern. So that model just needs to be corrected in some way because
it's so close to being okay too. It's just like
it is. It really is. Like it's not that big a deal.
Sat down. I feel like they're children. I need to sit them down. Like, look, this is what you did wrong. Okay, I need you to understand this.
And I know we talked about this microtransaction stuff for like 1,000 times, like throughout the Big Trouble career.
Where's Oldman yelling at clouds? Microtransactions.
Yeah, I mean that was like all of Escape from SideQuest before the show was retired.
Yeah, my main argument is, and I'm with Andy. Like, my main thing is I don't want to buy new release. I want to buy games that I know that I'm like fucking dying to play, which is Street Fighter 6, even though it's going to have that microtransaction thing. But my main argument is when I buy a game, I want everything included in the game for me to grind in a reasonable way to get that thing. I hate the thing of I have to either pay for the skin or grind like, I'm in high school again where I have nothing better to do besides play games for 12 hours a day.
So what do you want them to do?
I just want them to, they're not going to do it because it's their money maker. But I just want them to bring the game to me and have, cool things that they want to have skins in there for me to unlock by playing the game.
So if there's skins to unlock, but also there's skins you can buy, what about that?
No.
Still no.
I want
everything unlocked immediately.
See, there's no leeway on this. There's no microtransactions.
Yeah,
It's just like microtransactions is such a dirty word now. Zach just said, what did he say? Bad knee-jerk reaction to microtransactions, and he's right. Like people just hear microtransactions like I'm angry, but
yeah, I agree.
But I mean, I've bought microtransactions. I've bought downloadable content. I've bought a season pass or two in my day, and yeah, like I'm not gonna say I was doing the Lord's work or anything, but if you're not a whale, that's the problem. Is if you're a whale, I think you're an idiot.
I think my main thing, like they're moving away from the because when Star Wars Battlefront did the thing where you literally had to have a full-time job playing the game in order to unlock stuff. Like my main thing is I don't want to spend because I'm very ADD when it comes to games now. Like we're adults. Yeah, we're adults, right? We have responsibilities. I don't have time to fucking sit on a game.
I mean, you gotta break it. You gotta break the habit. When I was in college, I was an achievement hunter. That was a hell. I escaped, thank God, but I can't go back.
How? How'd you escape? I need help with that because I'm still having problems.
I played a string of games where getting all the achievements was just not feasible. Honestly, what broke me the most was Burnout Paradise. It had like 200 gamer points worth of online only achievements, and a lot of people had stopped playing the game, and it broke my heart. And after that, it was like, well, I didn't 100% Burnout Paradise, which is one of my favorite 8th generation games of all time. So there's no reason for me to 100% Red Dead Redemption. I don't really need to 100% fucking Spec Ops The Line. I don't really need to do this. I beat the game once. I saw the story. It's all I got to do. And then baby steps. And now I'm just like, yeah, if I can beat Last of Us, who cares? I might play this game again in 8 years. Who knows?
Yeah. That's what I did. It's funny. Like certain games, I do want to get everything, but I think it's depending on how the game is made. Like I platinum Ragnarok, but I played Last of Us. I just played through it DLC. I'm done. I didn't Resident Evil 4. I didn't try to go and get every single little thing. I just played it.
Like every once in a while, if you want 100% Elden Ring because you love it so much, it makes perfect sense to me. That's fine.
Well,
but it's just it's hard to get away from. Oh, I need 100% fucking Naruto Broken Bond because I checked it out at work once. I don't even like fucking Naruto games.
It's funny.
I played it once.
I'm not. It's funny. I keep saying I was like this big achievement hunter, and I'll still do it from time to time. But the game that actually broke me from that, or games rather, the Gears of War series. The Gears of War achievements are fucking stupid.
They have some that are dumb. Like some of them are like, you gotta get 5 melee kills with every type of grenade. And I was like, what? Fuck you.
They're actually stupid, and I think I don't think I ever got all the achievements on any of them, but I know at least on 2. I think it was 1 and 3. I managed to get all the achievements except for I can't even remember the name of the achievement now, but the really stupid. They always had a really stupidly absurd one. You had to play the game so much, you had to have so many kills with every gun, and it'd be ranked so high within single player or team rankings. It just stupid.
As long as we're airing our grievances on achievement hunting, I just wanted to drop the thing that pisses me off the most is I very nearly 100%ed Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2, but it had a fucking viral achievement. Do you remember these? In order to get it, you have to play online with someone who has that achievement. And when the game came out, only members of the development team had it. And then they stopped playing, and then the people they played with were starting to drop off, and you just can't even get it now. It's impossible. Viral achievements are the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
In my heyday of achievements and all of my things, the thing I held claim to fame was Guitar Hero 3 for Xbox 360. It took me a long time, but I had to get that achievement. But it was one of the last ones I got. But I actually got all the achievements for Guitar Hero 3, and for I think it was the better part of a year, I had the highest score on Even Flow by Pearl Jam on the leaderboard on 360.
That's a good one to do it on too.
Yeah, so I felt pretty good about that because at that point it's okay, well that song's not terribly hard to 100% on expert, but knowing exactly when you have to use your your star power and whammy bar. That's what it comes down to. But I had it down. It was just the right amount of booze and pot and guitar playing. It was great. It was a good time.
College. I remember
I
those
know.
days.
I know. I remember my first beer.
So,
go ahead, Dubs.
The one game that did me right in this generation of microtransaction hell was Spider-Man for the PS4. As far as unlocking things, I 100%ed that game and platinumed that game and got all the unlockable Spider-Man costumes. And I didn't spend one fucking dime. I don't even know if there was any microtransactions in that game.
Honestly, yeah, you're
DLC.
right. That's the best version. There's no microtransactions.
Yeah,
right.
And they intentionally did that, and I'm hopeful they'll still do it. Funny enough, that's a game that I like. As soon as I got like the first chance to go and look around, I got like every unlockable as I could get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I never finished the game. I'm still like at like the second to last like section of that game, and I just haven't finished it. I really need to go back and do that. So because I easily had the setup to get a platinum, but I just didn't go back to it. I don't have a good reason why.
Yeah,
but the second one coming out.
That's another thing about achievement hunting is it would burn you out on a game when you should be enjoying it.
Oh, that game it did it too. It could do it to you because there's just so much to go and find. But yeah. Point being, we've talked on this a whole bunch. I think that they are what they are. They're not good or bad. It just depends on how they're exploited. To me, people can spend their money how they want. I think that trying to exploit people and like misdirecting or misguiding how good their game is because they're giving incomplete games before they're reviewed is kind of sketchy. But
no, that seems unethical right there.
But to me, it's that if I get my money's worth in a game, I don't mind to spend it. But I also get how someone may have to save up for a long time to get a game, and it's not fair when games are already as expensive as they are. That's another thing too, and we didn't even talk about. Like again, League of Legends is a free to play game.
Yeah.
Street Fighter $70. Just check. $70 plus all the micro. If it were like that, that would be terrible. If you had to use it to play Ken, like nope, you're gonna have to dress up as Ryu today.
That would be unacceptable. But if I'll say one more thing about it, and then at least I'll be done with it. But we turned at this corner where I felt like it was a little more acceptable when the game would come out and you would just have the game for at least a few months, and then microtransactions would trickle out. They'd be like, "Oh, okay, well now you can play the game in a tuxedo,
DLC.
or oh now you can play the game as the boss." But now it's like they've planned for it day one. Like they've been working on it, obviously, and they might have done it after the game went gold, I guess, in their defense. But I don't know. I guess if you really don't like microtransactions at all, and I understand. I understand how you feel, Dubs, exactly. But you just need to support games that don't do it. Spider-Man, buy a bunch of mid-level stuff. Senua, whatever, Sacrifice, buy fucking Shredder's Revenge or whatever, like mid-tier stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, my final thing is, I'm gonna just vote my wallet as far as buying stuff, and it's just I want to see them get out of this season 1, season 2, season 3 bullshit, because I'm not a fucking career player of these games. There's other games I want to play. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you stay on the game and be addicted to their game that they're always making money off of these microtransactions. But live service gaming is the fucking devil. And
Fortnite. They want to Fortnite.
Well, Fortnite's like the only exception where it's like they do it right, and then other people just try to find it's like all scammers trying to like scam you and stuff.
Scammers be scamming.
Yeah.
All right, we drove microtransactions in the ground. Fuck them, but also
we're gonna talk about the young people now. Let's get the woke. No, I'm kidding. We're done.
I did
want to bring up as you close down as relation to my pick of movies next month. But you want me to do it now, or do you want me to do it after you announce movie next week?
Well, we still have 2 more movies left, so it's probably good if you do it near
at the end.
You do it at the end.
I'm not going to give any movies away. It was more just a general question to throw out. I want to cast a net out to our audience before it's an experiment. So for those that listen, by the way, thank you for taking the time to listen to us goofballs talk about all this stuff. But
especially
that being said,
microtransaction shit.
Yeah, exactly. After you listen to us complain, I'm sure someone turned it off so they're not hearing it now. And it's like, well, you bitched about microtransactions for 30 minutes. In fact, someone should go back and tell us how many times we said the word microtransactions. Trying to wake up a sleeper agent out there somewhere.
42.
Panama, computer, Igloo, 47. Anyway, my theme next month that I'll be doing in July will we may be doing something a little different. I just want to throw the idea out. So for anyone that can, on whatever platform you listen to, if you're able to leave a comment below, just drop in a line to us to let us know if you'd be interested in an interactive theme. With this, it would effectively let you be involved, as we may have some people try to guess what the theme is, and we might be doing some prizes or something related to that. But just wanted to see if people would be interested in that. If we hear nothing, no big deal. Then I'll just make these hostages that I have on the show try to guess. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. We'll see if we get some hits.
The number one prize is Chaz gets to open up a Pokemon card live. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I had something kind of similar to that, but we'll talk about prizes later.
Dubs, where can people find us to comment?
All podcast services that you could find, we're on there. We're also on YouTube, on Big Trouble Little Podcast YouTube and Couch Entertainments. So what Chaz just said, please comment down below and give your response on that. If you don't want to give a comment, just hit that like or dislike button, because both are interaction in the YouTube algorithm, and I really appreciate that.
Top comment gets to choose a prize. And I'm just kidding. That's a lie. That is a total lie.
And just for reiteration, Twilight Samurai is the next movie that we will be discussing. So make sure you watch that and then come back here and we will discuss it. But until next time, everybody, we will see you next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening.
I have a question for God.